How is everybody doing?
We're good.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here with us. Hey, everybody.
Hi.
I'm Racquel Eversley. I'm so excited about this team summit. Hey, my virtual viewers, everybody that's in here. So my name is Racquel Eversley, and I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. A lot of times people can say that you are this and you are that, but who do you say you are? And so I'm gonna just talk about changing the narrative. I stand accused of so many different things, but who I say I am and who God says I am is what really matters. So just to give you a little bit of background on me, I'm a HBCU graduate. I have a master's degree in education, life coach, author, certified teacher, entrepreneur. But being all these things did not matter because I didn't believe it. And until about a year or so ago, I had to change what I thought about myself. I chose to believe all the things that I was accused of, all the things that people said about me and who I was going to be and what nothingness I would be. And I chose to believe those things instead of believing what God said about me, even what my team would say about me. I didn't believe it. So I was always living in the gap. And the gap is the place where you just see the negatives and not the positive. Sometimes we look at what the negatives are, we focus on what the negative things that people say, and that's living in the gap. Because even what you may not know is that we live in the past, present, and future all at the same time. Because all of this is playing in your mind. You think about your past, you think about what's going on right now, you think about your future, all at the same time. So we coexist in three different times in our mind at one time. And so you have to, if you focus on the negative things in your past, growing up, the trauma you may have faced as a child, you live in the gap. And you allow those things to determine who you are and how you're going to behave, but that's not who you have to be. So I want to talk a bit. I want to tell you a story. There were two Buddhist monks, and I don't know if you know about Buddhist monks. Monks aren't supposed to do certain things. They have ultra holy lifestyle, and they can't even touch women. So there were two Buddhist monks that were traveling to their monastery. They reached the river, and at the riverbed, they saw a beautiful woman. The woman was distressed because she could not go across the river by herself. So the older monk picked her up and carried her safely across the river. So they returned back to their journey for about 5 hours, and then once they reached their destination, the second monk, who had been fuming, angry for about 5 hours of this last part of their journey, said to the first one, "How could you do it? You know that we're not supposed to touch women, but you carried her across the river." And so the first monk was surprised, and he said, "I put her down 5 hours ago, but you're still carrying her with you." And so in our minds, sometimes we carry things, we carry hurt, we carry anger, we carry guilt. And these things that we hold on to prevent us from fully enjoying life. The things that you're holding on to is hurting you. One thing that my mom used to always, and she still does tell me, Racquel, if you hold on to jealousy, if you hold on to hate, if you hold on to strife, it's like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. The poison that we drink, we hold on to it. Traumatic things in our life and no forgiveness are the things that make us toxic. It doesn't, and it can cause us to be toxic towards other people. It can cause us to hurt other people. But we think that if we hold on to this bitterness, if we hold on to this anger, it makes us strong, but it really is killing us. It kills you to hold on to that. So I had to no longer look at the traumatic incidents of child molestation, a broken family, moving, and I'm from New Jersey. New Jersey is very different from Southeast Georgia. Where I grew up, we had, it was a mesh of different cultures. We had the Italians, the Black Americans, the Africans, the Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans, all on the same block. And we got along. Everybody celebrated each other's culture. So, mind you, when I came to Georgia, it was a complete shock to me. And as a matter of fact, when my father told me I'm going to send you to Georgia with your mom, I ran away. And I kept running away, and I kept running away, and I kept running away because you are not going to catch me. The only idea I had of the South was what I've seen on The Color Purple, Mississippi Burning. That's the only idea I had of the South. So that's all I knew about it. So I just thought that people was walking around, the guys you have to milk cows, and the guys would have the pigs on their back. And that was my idea. Where I came down here, and it was better than I thought. But the culture of racism and things like that was a shock to me, and it still is. And that was 23 years ago. So even just yesterday, I'm a teacher, and one of the students went in and wrote the N-word on the wall. And I teach at a very small alternative school, so we were able to figure out who did it very quickly because he wrote the N-word and a whole lot of other stuff in the same pen that he signed in with. And it was a very distinctive pen. And so, like the jail pens, you know how they write different. And so when he did that, we traced it back to him just like that. And one thing, the director of where I work, she is a Black woman. She, at first, we were all outraged. We wanted to, have him go to the tribunal, have him tried, and have him expelled from the school. And it's an alternative school, and for a lot of kids, it's kind of their last stop. It's like the last day before their parents send them off somewhere. And so I was fuming, because that was one of my triggers, one of the things that make me so angry. But when his mom came in and he was repentant and he cried and everything, she gave him a second chance. She made him, clean off the walls and paint it. But she gave him a second chance to come into the school. And I told her, I said, you just taught me a whole lesson in mercy. Now, I don't know if I could have been that merciful, but just seeing somebody demonstrate that at her school, her facility, where she's the director, and they were saying the ugliest thing, you know. So, and that caused me to think about what I was going to talk about today, what you are accused of being. And we're not that. The N word means ignorant person. So in the fact that he wrote it in the same pen he signed in with, he was the ignorant person, and not the rest of us who was in there that are of color. And so I was thinking about all those things. So I quickly let that go. I let it go as fast as angry as I got. I let that anger go because I have to teach this kid. And I don't want to be, and he has a right or wrong to feel the way he feels. That doesn't lessen who I am. It doesn't lessen what I believe about myself. But I still have to be kind because love is what's going to win him over, what's going to show him how different I am than what he is. And hopefully that love will bring him to a better understanding about who I am as a woman of color, as a Black woman. So, you know, like I was saying, the things that happened to me that were traumatic does not define who I am. And I look at these things as equipment that allowed me to build my muscle. The traumatic instances in my life, the hurt, the pain, those were like dumbbells. And it helped to strengthen my muscle, my strength of character, so that when I'm facing hard times, I don't fold. I don't just run away like I used to run away and kept running away. I ran away all my life. And even up until last year, I wanted to run away so bad. Like, I want to leave Brunswick. I'm tired. I just want to go. And I wanted to go to a place that's comfortable and where things are easy for me. But God told me, God blocked everything. I tried, but God blocked every single thing that I was trying to do when I was trying to leave. And I'm so glad that I stayed. And so I want you to think about what are like 5 things that you need to let go of. Just think about it in your mind. Like 5 to 10 things that you need to let go of. And also in your mind, I want you to think about how does these things that you need to let go of, how is it benefiting you? Is it benefiting you at all? And so I'm sure that one list is probably longer than the other. So you probably need to let go of way more things than as much as it is benefiting you, and it's not. It's a toxic. It's toxic. So, and think about how would you feel if you let go of those things. You think that a weight will be lifted. You feel a little bit lighter. Your load a little bit easier. And so we constantly have to make ourselves over and over and over again. We constantly have to make ourselves over. I'm constantly, and I've learned that recently about making myself over time and time again. I think I have people who I deal with and we share ideas, we feed off of each other, we support one another. And so I learned to respect who I am. And in respecting who I am requires you to do the very best action steps to take control of my life and the narrative of my life, not what someone else says. There's such a thing called the core of reality therapy. and I'm going to quote the philosopher who first came up with this. His name is William Glasser. He's a psychologist, and he stated that regardless of what happened to us, what we may have done or how our needs may have been unmet or violated in the past, to be happy and effective, we must live and plan in the present. And this enables us to clarify how we can best fulfill our needs, to evaluate our behaviors and make effective and need changes and choices about our old, our now, and our future. And that's a very powerful statement, regardless of how our needs were unmet, regardless of how our needs were violated, we still have to be able to plan, live in the present, and plan for the future, and also change the narrative of the past. And I want to take you back to a story in the Bible, and it says this in John 8. And so it says, Jesus returned to the Mount of Olives, but early the next morning he was back again at the temple. The crowd soon gathered, and he sat down and taught them. As he was speaking, the teachers of religious laws and the Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in the act of adultery. So let me tell you a little bit about the Pharisees. The Pharisees were the religious people. They were always in the church, and I'm sure y'all know people who are always in the church, very religious, but Jesus called them hypocrites. And so Jesus said to them, "Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, hypocrites! You shut the kingdom of heaven in men's faces." These are the people that may be in the church or who you may think are so good that will make you feel bad about who you are and your choices and things like that. You yourselves do not enter the kingdom of heaven. And this is what Jesus said to them. These are the high priests. And he says, "Nor will you let those who are trying to." Some people in the church who are self-righteous try to block you and accuse you and shame you and can be jealous of you. So the Pharisees always was bringing stuff to Jesus because they were jealous of his authority and his power. And so the Pharisees caught this lady in the act of adultery. I know that was so embarrassing. And so they brought her in front of the whole crowd, shamed her, said, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. The law says of Moses to stone her. What do you say?" And they were trying to trap him, saying that they could use something against him. But Jesus stooped down and wrote in the dust with his fingers. And a lot of people, it's controversy over what he may have wrote in the dust. But he says, "All right, but let the one who has never sinned throw the first stone."
Come on.
Then he stooped down again and wrote in the dust. I wonder, I can't wait to sit down. What did you write? I want to know. So when the accusers heard this, they slipped away one by one because they knew that they themselves were not perfect. They knew that they themselves had been short. And so when all of them left, it was just Jesus and the woman. And Jesus said to the woman, "Where are your accusers? Did even one of them condemn you?" So people can say a lot. You could be right on a firing block, about to be stoned to death. People can have this idea about who you are and then want to come at you, try to shoot you down, make you feel bad. But we have to also trust God in that time that they're going to drop those rocks. They can't shoot me down. They can't stone me. They still have issues that they need to resolve within themselves. And he says, did not one of them condemn you? And she said, no, Lord. And Jesus said, neither do I. Go and sin no more. So when you know better, you do better. You know, she had to be shamed in all her business put out there, but the man wasn't shamed. They didn't bring the man; they just brought the woman, and that's a whole.
Oh, that's a whole nother.
That's a whole nother session. But you know, that's kind of how it is a lot of times. But we have to still change the narrative. So, and a lot of times we condemn ourselves. We condemn ourselves to what like the Pharisees say because they're the high priest, they have a nice robe, they have a nice car, they have nice homes, they live in their best life, you know, but and those are the ones who may look down and say, oh, you're not poised enough. I'm in a period of not being poised enough, you know, I remember when I first had dreads, before it was really popular, and I was working in a country school system, a rural school area. And so the word had got back to me that they thought that I was a weed smoking lesbian. I was neither one of those things. And so I'm like, where does that come from? Because of my hair? And I folded. I cut my hair, I cut my dreads off, and had a short haircut, and then I got braids in my hair, and I wanted to look the part. So I started dressing up a lot more and being who they thought I should be. And when I did, I got opportunity. However, I also learned how to create my own opportunities. And the things that I can truly be myself in, I have to create that environment. And we can do that. So one thing that Jesus was to the woman that was caught in adultery, he was part of her Spark team. And I think about my Spark team, I was thinking about my first lady, my pastor, the people who are on my Spark team, Valerie Williams, Christina, people who have poured into me and taught me some things in this journey to transformation. A lot of times we focus on our transgressions and not our transformation. And we can't allow that to be what we focus on. Somebody else may focus on it. We can't control them, but we have to focus on that. So think about who's on your Spark team, who's a person that energizes you, who encourages you, who inspires you, the people who stretch you. I remember back in December, I was just so upset. I was in church and I was just crying. I was just overwhelmed. I was just crying so bad. I had to go into the other room. And so sister, Lady D came in there and she said, what's wrong? What's going on? And I told her everything that was going on. And she said, Racquel, Racquel, for 2020, I want your word to be action. Your word for 2020 is action. And that, it sparked something in me. It energized me. It inspired me. And, 2020 has been so much action, from January to now. And it's, when I feel like I'm going to a different level, you got to expect the accusers to come. You got to expect the Pharisees, the people who look good, who may have clout and all that. You have to expect them to come for you. When you go on to the next level, they're gonna also arrive. They're gonna try to make you feel bad. They're gonna try to make you doubt And a lot of times when I recently learned this, that anytime where I felt depressed or I felt that oh, I just can't take it anymore, it was fear. And fear has torment. That's in the Bible. Fear has torment, and God didn't give us the spirit of fear. So some people say depression, but depression is a form of fear. And whether, we have to get therapy, I went into therapy, but my son was awarded by the NAACP. I wrote a book in February on my birthday, created a tutoring company, helping people start their own business. And I am just leveling up. I think about Miss Valerie. She, when we used to work together at Job Corps, but she was a hero to me long before. And I always tell her about this, and I know she's like, I heard this before, but I have to give people their flowers while they're here. But she was when I first moved to Brunswick, like I said, I ran away over and over and over again. And then I'm reading this story in the newspaper. I'm like, oh man, this lady, I don't want to tell the story because she's gonna tell y'all. But she was a hero to me way before I met her. That was in 1996. I didn't meet her till 2016, 20 years later. And so she would talk to me about writing a book and having your story and sharing that and not being afraid to share your story. So it's been all about action this year. My Spark team has really energized me, has inspired me, has made me conscious of who I am and what I need to be. They stretch me. They're not a yes man. They're not the friends that I go to and they're going to agree with everything I say. If I'm feeling down, I'm feeling the type of way. Recently I was talking to my first lady. She said, Racquel, you gotta reach up. Don't reach out to Facebook and all that stuff like that. You gotta reach up. Reach up to the people who really care about you, to your leadership team. And because we got your back. And so the next time I'm feeling hey, I need to talk to somebody. But I have learned that just to not to be afraid of what I'm feeling, but to make the right choices in those feelings. And I can't always choose feelings over the fact of the matter. The fact is that I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am beautiful. I am highly anointed. I am all these things. That's a fact. That is a fact. And how I feel in a moment when I'm going through a breakup or I'm feeling lonely or whatever, that's feelings. So I have to ride with facts. The fact is, this is a fact, But I don't have a whole lot more, but what time? 10:36. Okay. But we have 5 basic needs as human beings. We have a need for belonging. We have a need for power. We have a need for fun, freedom, and survival. And so a lot of times I didn't know that power was a need. But power is to achieve something, to be skilled, and be recognized for those achievements. You have to have your Spark team that's going to celebrate you, that's going to help you, push you even further, that's going to share what you're putting on Facebook that's positive. That's not going to let you sit there and wallow in pity and things like that. You have to, that's power. That's power. That's when you're able to control the narrative of your life, and when you're able to control your emotions and put fact over feelings, that's power. You know, when you are able to achieve something and be listened to, that's power, and that gives you a sense of self-worth. We all have a need to belong. We need relationships. We need social connection, and we need to give and receive affection. That's love and belonging. That's why a lot of people, I don't say my people in my family, you know, something where they lacking that while they're in gangs and stuff. You know, they're lacking this sense of love and belonging. I was looking at one of my friends, 40 years old. You sitting there celebrating your game. And when you should be, and I'm not judging this person, but if I could talk to this person, I definitely would share with them, you have so much more. You belong to the kingdom of God. You can create your lane. So we also have a need for survival. We are genetically instructed to survive. And so even babies, when a baby is first born, if they do not attach to their mother, yes, and if they don't have that sense of love and belonging, they can die, and it's called a failure to thrive. The baby loses any hope of even wanting to survive. And so also we have a need for freedom. Freedom is the need for independence, to have a choice, to be able to take control in the direction of your life. Okay. I've seen something where it says that sometimes I can't control the storm, but I can adjust myself. Come on. So sometimes when we going through these tumultuous issues, when we are having great problems and we feel overwhelmed, we feel attacked by people, we adjust ourselves, and we adjust ourselves. And so we change the narrative. And this is why I put this police, like the police placard, like when you do your mug shot. I put this on there because a lot of times we are accused you, and it feels so bad. But you change the narrative of what you are guilty of. If they're gonna look at you and talk about you, give them something to talk about. Make sure that you are being true to you. And so that's my time. And so this is my book. It's called Sutured. It's a book of prayers, poems, pain, things that I've gone through. And so my next book, I'm working on the next one, but it's going to be more about my transformation and who I am today, the queen, the empress in me. And I still remember, but I changed the narrative. I'm accused, but I do not submit to that. I submit to a higher authority and to what I believe about myself. So I thank y'all for listening.